This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by The Ben Heck Show. Building, modding, and electronics culture with Ben Heck and Friends. Brought to you by Element 14. Coming up today on TRS, Sid Meier's does it again with Civilization 5.
And welcome to the Totally Rad Show for Tuesday, September 28th. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
And I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
The Totally Rad Show is your daily dose of all things rad. Yesterday you heard us talking about the Legends of Ghoul, the owls, Legends of the Guardians, Owls of Ghoul.
It's a few of those words strung together in similar fashion.
You know what? It was a movie. Whatever. We were there. Done. Today we're talking about Jeff's wet dream, Civilization 5.
It is.
Which is going to be awesome. I think we should just get into it. And moist. We should get into the moistness.
Let's moist it up. Sid Meier's Civilization series is one of those pinnacles of video gaming. If you haven't tried it yet, this is the 5th installment we're talking about now, but it has been going on for well over a decade, I think.
Well, over a decade.
I'm sure it has. I can't remember when the first one came out, to be honest with you, but it's a series that I love dearly. And what is it? It is a turn-based strategy game where basically you start out with a tiny settlement and grow into a huge empire. And you can win the game any number of ways by military, economic, science, or culture victories. There's a lot of depth in this game, and the 5th iteration changes up the formula in a lot of really interesting ways, including changing from squares to hex tiles. But it's basically a turn-based strategy game in the highest form, a form I really, really like. Dan, I know you played Civilization Revolutions, as we all did on the 360, yeah. But I don't know if you played.
Remember, that was my E3 of last year. On my Mac laptop, I was playing Civilization 4 all night long. Remember I came in and
that's sort of the thing about this series is it's that one more turn mentality. Civilization is the enemy of sleep.
Yes, and I'm now running on 4 hours sleep because the same thing happened last night with Civ 5. First of all, I want to comment on the opening cinematic. Pre-rendered,
sure,
short film in the beginning.
Gorgeous.
Amazing. Stupendous.
Right.
It's one of the best cutscenes ever made.
And hard to skip, strangely.
Hard. Oh, you mean like you were trying and you couldn't? Oh, I didn't. I didn't even know because I was
engrossed by the old man.
And it creates the perfect tone and vibe for playing the game, and making you believe in the amount of control you have of creating a nation and trying to triumph over the world.
Right.
And I had plenty of fun playing Civilization 5. I missed, in the older iteration, you could stack your troops to create
that's
armies.
A huge change.
And I didn't read anything about this, so I was just kept on trying to do it and failing, and I wasn't sure.
You didn't hear your military advisor go, you can no longer, only 1 unit per hex now.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
You don't listen to your advisors.
I didn't listen to my advisor.
He's like, shut up, military man. Get on top of that man.
But what is cool about that?
It's a huge tactical change.
Yeah, and I like the idea of having to accrue those armies, and then when I accrue them, I could send them out. But there's something about making it more strategic in planning, like flanking guys over here, pulling the old Braveheart tactic, or the Gandalf the White tactic, if you prefer your fantasy in your battles.
It forces that to happen.
You didn't sleep anymore.
It forces that to happen because previous iterations, you could just stack these huge armies up, and it was all about just accumulating gobs of guys and overwhelming with numbers. But now you really do have, because now it also allows range attacks, which it never did before.
Right.
And so you
didn't have archery and stuff like that.
No, it did, but you couldn't go for more than 1 square away, and so certain units can do that now. So you really have these. It's a whole nother layer to the game that they've added.
Right.
Yeah. So you dig it, Alex.
Yeah.
I think this is a hard sell for you.
Oh yeah.
Were you sold hard?
Not at all.
Put away wet?
Not at all. There's no fun for me in these games.
No moisture?
No. I mean, I wish there was. first off, it's gorgeous.
But you love board games.
But not this type of board game. We had this conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's one of those things where it's
What
like,
don't you like about it?
God,
Everything.
No, it's literally, it's just, I don't, it's almost like I'm starting to think, it's really funny, for doing this show, it's really sort of made me confront these things that I would never have even thought to think of, right? Which is, why do I not enjoy open world games as much as I do non-open world games? Before, I would just go,
happened to you as a child.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, I would just go, it doesn't matter. I would look at a game and go, it doesn't look that good for me. And then I'd grab Halo 3 or whatever, you know what I mean? But I started, and it's the same thing with this, and I think really what it comes down to is, I need to know what it is I'm supposed to do.
You're supposed to conquer everyone.
But that's too vague, you know?
Did you
You're supposed
choose
to
a way to win, sort of mentally
Yes,
beforehand?
yes.
What was your way?
the shooting way.
Yeah, the military.
Military.
Yeah.
That's
That
the
for me
easiest,
was
most
the most
accessible
fun.
way.
Yeah.
But all this other stuff is going on, and I don't I mean, you know, maybe it's the way
It's
that
overwhelming.
RPG stuff can
only at
wean
first.
you in. I got to a point. I mean, I understood exactly what was going on. I just
Right.
didn't care. Like, I made a wonder. Boop. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Okay. Some guy
Well, but
killed all
they
my
mean-
horses.
That does mean things. I mean,
I know it does, but it
under
doesn't.
The hood, it
there's
means
no.
stuff.
I know, and I know what it means, but it's like for me, it just doesn't elicit. It's like my pleasure sensor doesn't go off for this kind of game. It's a gorgeous game, and this is why these types of games
Huge
are so hard
graphical
to review, because it's a gorgeous game. I get, and it's so intricate. I get how people can lose themselves into these games. I get it. I just can't myself, which is frustrating, but. It's gorgeous, and that opening sequence was amazing.
Well, I know you guys know that I'm given to hyperbole, but
No.
I think this might be my favorite game of all time. I think this might be my new favorite game ever.
Better than Ultima 7?
It's hard to say that because it's just like a part of my childhood, but I when I'm not playing this game,
Yeah.
all I want to do is play it.
Yeah.
It's all I think about. I
Yeah.
dream about it. It's got that yearning that I know you know.
I haven't had that experience in a long time, but that was World of Warcraft and Star Wars Galaxies for me.
There are so
Sitting
many-
in bed doing the forums when I was down in San Diego, trying to figure out like, oh, when I get home, I got to switch to Carboneer. I mean, it's like
There are so many huge improvements that they've made to an already near perfect game. I love what nation states and city states add to the game, where it's other empires that are happening that aren't actual players or aren't actually trying to win the game, but are just there to cause more chaos and make you account for things, and really add kind of a quest structure where now they're asking you for certain help on types of things. You know, they need trade of certain kinds, or barbarians are tormenting them and need you to stop that. And you can get bonuses by doing these kinds of things. There are so many decisions to be made moment to moment, and such a level of depth that this is one of those games where I could literally just play this for years and not need another video game.
Yeah.
And it's a joy. It is exactly what I love about board games. It's that strategy element, that planning my turns, dealing with what other people are doing. On top of a layer of what I love about like history, and I'm learning stuff, but it makes learning fun, which sounds really cheesy, but is true.
It definitely is very, like we even said about Red Dead Redemption, like you really gives perspective on why things happen the way they do.
yeah.
I think the real time suck of these games is exactly what you say, in that you're playing and you're making mistakes, all to figure out what you then realize that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
And it's like 50 turns away from happening, so you can't stop playing until that goes through,
Yeah.
because you want to see, okay, now I know what to do. I gotta get that city, then get that thing, and then I'll have that, and then I gotta develop that. But in
Yeah.
order to do that, that's gonna take about 2 hours to accomplish.
Yeah.
So you're not turning off, and then after you do that, you go, oh wait, now I got. So everything is a major carrot on a huge, long
Look at the
stick.
stick on that Civ 5.
The other thing that's such a huge improvement for this game is the way cities develop. No longer are cities just kind of getting bigger within themselves.
Right.
You are expanding out and working the fields in different kinds of ways, which I found could be completely fun. And I just want to say, for people that may be intimidated by this kind of game, because I can understand that, certainly, it seems very dense at first and there's a lot thrown at you. I have to say, this game does a fantastic job of presenting tutorials that make it really easy to understand. And
The advisors are actually really great. I mean, they helped me a lot, because I didn't
But you
really
know-
play any of the other ones, but
You could download the demo of a Civ Revolution if you have a
Well, Revolution is
console.
much more streamlined
Just
and
to
easy
get the
play.
concept of it,
Yeah.
and then because that's what I played the demo and couldn't wait for the game, so I went and got Civ 4 back in the day.
Oh, right. I remember that. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Let me jump topics here and toss something out at you, if I may.
Okay.
Hit
Which
me.
is I was commenting on the pre-rendered scene in the beginning.
Yeah.
I miss them. I miss them in games.
Well,
And
you
I-
should play Final Fantasy.
I get
13.
no.
We
Well,
got
I
a
get,
ton of 'em in StarCraft 2.
I get the immersion.
I liked 'em in StarCraft
of
2.
having everything be in engine.
Yeah.
But there's some that you can't achieve. I
Yeah.
almost feel like we took a few steps back, and now if you look at these in-engine sequences that happen, I feel like that's going to really date this era of video games.
I disagree completely. You should go see Legends of Ga'Hoole.
Ah!
You know, that's
It's
all
gorgeous.
CG.
All
is in
CG.
engine.
That is
Great
a giant
cutscene. It's a great
cutscene.
cutscene.
Well, you should see when the MMO comes out. That's the opening cutscene. 2.5
I like the
hours.
fact that there's no difference between what I'm looking at when I'm playing and what the cutscene is.
But
I like
I want the story
Yeah.
and the gameplay to live up to, which sometimes it does, the feeling that I get that's amazing in those cutscenes.
Yeah. It's tough.
Well, that's why you have them in engine, and so it can live up.
No.
he's
I'm
saying
saying the gameplay
live down.
live up.
Yeah.
I don't mind it for like Modern Warfare. Like then I'm like I like it all being there and I'm living the experience. But obviously it works well in Civ 5. But there's got to be other games where I'm like Uncharted. I wouldn't mind because what I'm doing is so cinematic anyway. I wouldn't mind seeing a cinematic.
Yeah.
As you're talking to me about that, all I'm thinking about is when can I go back and play Civ 5? I literally don't want to play any other game.
right
I
now.
know that. That's how I was last year.
Dude, punch it out. You can go play Civ 5.
That's all you need to say.
All right, everybody, before we take off, we do want to thank our sponsors. So join zany electronics hobbyist Ben Heck and his friends as they build and modify a host of amazing community-inspired creations. This actually reminds me a lot of like the old Yoshi days.
Oh, yeah.
And screensavers.
Yeah, he was just on
Which I love
Twitter a
that
couple
stuff.
weeks ago.
Really?
They, like
Good for
found
him.
him. He works in special effects now.
I gotta call him. Anyway, tune into the Ben Heck Show starting every other Monday, starting September 13th. Actually, right here on Revision 3. Of course, the Ben Heck Show is brought to you exclusively by Element 14. So Element 14 is an online store and community for electronic design engineers. Check it out, Element14, the number 1, the number 4.com.
Also, Element 14 is something you don't want to ever ingest.
Yes, because it's radioactive and will explode your testicles. None of that is true. All right, people, stick tuned. Tomorrow we talk about the crazy Martin Scorsese. What?
Wait,
Boardwalk
what are
Empire.
other things?
Do you-
Jinx.com/TRS to get
Jinx.com/TRS to get gear.
Swag.
Tomorrow we've got Steve Buscemi and Martin Scorsese together in Boardwalk Empire.
Art imitating life, imitating art, but it's all art. So it's art imitating art, imitating art.
It's
Directed by
TV
Martin
imitating
Scorsese.
movies, imitating TV,
Yeah,
imitating movies.
exactly.
There's boobs. There's some boobs in this show. Let's be honest.
there
All
are.
right, so you know I'm a
HBO.
fan.
Yeah.
One Nucky Thompson,
Nucky?
hilarity ensues.
Nucky.
No, I think that's a different.
Oh, it's a different HBO show?
Different one.
Oh, sorry.
Damn it, Nucky.